Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Denial of the Day, where we are going to talk about how you can win your claim and something super specific and very important. Chris, what is on the docket for today, my friend?
Yes, hello everyone. So today we're going to talk about something very important. It's called the date of loss. When you file a claim, there has to be a date. It's that simple. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of things that can go wrong with your claim if you have
Okay.
the wrong date of loss.
Yes.
So I'll just give you a few things that go around this whole date of loss because sometimes I've seen this where someone, hears a hailstorm or they're out of town, their neighbors or something said, "Hey,
Right.
we have a hailstorm, might want to call it in." So they do their research. It looks like they have got hail, and then they'll call it in that day and they're like, "Yeah, I think it was yesterday or I think it was that day." And there's so many things that go on the back end that you don't realize, like everyone having access to the weather, seeing the
Right.
size of hail, everything that affects that date of loss, or even simple things as far as flood, not simple, I should say, other things like floods, where, weather can cause that as well if you got a pipe bursting or something like that. So it's so
Right.
important for the state of loss. So, so important that you get
Yeah.
that right.
Well, and the insurance company makes it seem like, well, they called in on this date and they
Mhm.
said that was the date of loss. Well, insurance company, isn't it your responsibility to do a full and thorough investigation to determine the cause of loss? Novel concept, right? So don't let the insurance company tell you what the date of loss is if it's incorrect, because just like Chris said, I was actually on a claim where I specifically asked the engineer that the insurance company hired to come out on the property to make sure he was using the right date of loss. And he told me basically to get lost in not so many words. And we had a little verbal disagreement on top of this building because he was wrong and I was right, and he didn't want to change the date of loss. And it ended up costing them, the insurance company, hundreds of thousands of dollars because he didn't do his damn job. And I knew the date of loss. I looked up the data. I confirmed it with the insured. And he still didn't want to change it because it was in the favor of the insurance company to have the wrong date of loss because it made the insured look like they didn't know what they were talking about because the insurance company, wanted to use this specific date of loss because it would save them hundreds of thousands of dollars. But because the engineer wasn't being fair and doing his due diligence and taking responsibility for his report, we were able to kind of punch them right in the gut and get a lot of money for the insured because the insurance company didn't want to do their job.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It really is.
Yeah. And
And,
so,
go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, if the insurance company is going to try to assign you a date of loss, make sure it's correct. If you're the insured, if you're the contractor, make sure the date of loss isn't just the date that the insured calls. Because again, most insureds have lives. They have children, they have families, they have dogs, they have vacations to plan. They have jobs that aren't doing public insurance adjusting like we do every single day. And people forget. Maybe they were out of town. Maybe their neighbor told them, hey, just so you know, there was a hailstorm last Friday. And accidentally it was Wednesday, and it just maybe got lost in translation. So make sure you're doing your due diligence and verifying the data and the information. If it's against a news report, if it's against data, weather data, if it's against your neighbor's date of loss that they actually use and it was correct on their insurance form versus what they told you. Because again, there's so many things, everybody has lives, so make sure you're getting the correct information because that one thing, which is very specific, can make or break your whole claim.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I'll just add to that, Taylor, is if for some reason you're out of town, check with your neighbors, hire a reputable general contractor. They know what they're looking for, they know the dates, or in fact, hire us. Bring us out there. Actually, don't hire us, just let us look at it. Then you can bring us on, and we'll just navigate that claim from start to finish and then make
Right.
it a lot easier for you.
Yeah,
So,
you bring up a very good point. A lot of the contractors that we know and trust will have this data that we have. And it's
mm,
usually pretty simple. Sometimes it can be a little muddy. There can be two dates of loss right next to each other, things like that, but that's the very few exception versus the rule that we know, like, hey, certain specific date, afternoon, we know when the date of loss is, the covered cause of loss, things like that. So, Chris, last words, my friend.
That's pretty much it. Again, we are very reputable. Public adjuster here in Denver, Colorado, everywhere. But instead of Googling us, the easiest way to do it is what, Taylor?
Go to bellatorclaims.com, my friend. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you guys soon.